What if I told you that 87% of shooters are sabotaging their accuracy before the trigger even breaks? I'm not exaggerating. I'm talking about perfect fundamentals on the target. Feet set, sight picture nailed, steady breath, and then the hole opens up 6 inches low and leaves at just 15 yards. That gutting moment when everything felt right, but the round landed where it shouldn't. That isn't a mystery of skill or kit. It's a biological betrayal. Your body, on autopilot, is protecting you from perceived pain, and that autopilot is wrecking your shooting. Let me be blunt. Training, equipment, even physical strength don't fix this by themselves. The real problem lives in a half-second of time that you don't feel, but your nervous system screams about. Studies from the Army Marksmanship Unit show that over 90% of untrained shooters display anticipatory muscle tension in the 0.3 seconds before the shot. Microcontractions in your forearm, wrist, and shoulder that pitch the muzzle off target before the bullet leaves the barrel. High-speed cameras don't lie. Your gun dips 2 to 4 degrees in that final millisecond, and 2 degrees at the muzzle becomes 8 inches off at 25 yards. That's the difference between center mass and a miss. Every time you run a range session without addressing this, you teach your subconscious to protect you more efficiently. That sounds useful, until you realize it's what ruins your accuracy. Here's the good news. There's one drill used by Special Forces instructors and elite police trainers that forces your body to unlearn this protective reflex. It's simple, it's cheap, and it's cruelly effective when done right. It's the ball and dummy drill. And yes, when executed properly, it will shrink your groups, erase that mysterious throw, and make your shooting feel effortless in ways you didn't expect. But before you slap the range together and start loading magazines yourself, there are 3 common mistakes that annihilate the drill's effectiveness, mistakes that most shooters make without even realizing it. If you avoid these pitfalls, the drill will reveal and rewire your flinch in ways 1,000 dry-fire repetitions never will. If you fall into them, you'll either plateau or get worse. So let's walk this through like an instructor in the lane. Why the drill works, how to load and run it properly, what to watch for, and how to make the changes stick over the long run. First, why the drill is brutally honest. Your brain learns by consequence. When you expect recoil and you don't get it, your protection circuits light up for no reason. That split second of surprise, muzzle drops, shoulder tenses, eyes blink, becomes proof you cannot argue with. If you've ever slapped a dummy round into your carry magazine and felt that hollow silence when nothing happened, you know the moment I mean. It's uncomfortable, humiliating even. But that discomfort is where the magic happens. The drill forces conscious awareness of an involuntary response, and awareness is the prerequisite to change. Now, the 3 fatal mistakes most shooters make. Predictable loading patterns. People love order. They load dummy rounds in patterns like 2 lives, 1 dummy, 2 lives. Human brains are pattern detectors by design. Johns Hopkins research shows we detect sequences after only 3 or 4 repetitions, even when we try not to. If your brain starts predicting dummy rounds, you'll flinch on purpose to fake out the drill. Or worse, your subconscious will time the protective movement only for the predicted spots. That trains selective flinching instead of erasing it. The fix is simple but uncomfortable. Randomize everything. Get a training partner to load magazines for you using a randomized protocol, or use a truly random app to pick slots. Mix magazine capacities so you can't count rounds by weight. Use different magazines in the same session. The goal is total unpredictability on every trigger press. Rushing the recovery. Most shooters see a dummy. Feel it, rack the slide, and keep going. That's a malfunction drill, not flinch training. Neuroscience tells us behavior change requires a conscious window, a few seconds, where the trainee recognizes the unwanted action and mentally links it to the physical sensation. If you rush past the moment, your brain never builds that critical link. So when the shot goes, click, freeze. Don't move the gun, don't blink. Hold position for at least 5 seconds, 10 seconds if you want rapid gains. Visually confirm the muzzle down and verbalize what happened. Say out loud, shoulders rose, wrists bent, sight went low left. That verbalization cements the neural pathway change. Coaches report dramatic improvements when students adopt this pause and process habit. Group sizes shrink, and shooters stop blaming gear for what their body is doing. Training only at close distances. Flinch is deceptive. At 7 yards, even a jerky shot still hits paper. That gives you false confidence. The Israeli Defense Forces found flinch-induced displacement averages 1.5 inches at 7 yards, but explodes to 8 to 11 inches at 25 yards. Train only close and you eliminate gross flinches, but leave the subtle anticipatory tension that kills precision at distance. The solution is progressive distance. Start at 10 yards and demand 20 consecutive, clean trigger presses with no visible movement before moving back. Then progress to 15, and finally to 25 yards. That distance acts like a microscope for tiny errors and forces your brain to truly stabilize under real-world conditions. If you nail those 3 core elements, randomness, recovery pause with verbalization, and progressive distance, you will see rapid change. But there are more advanced layers most people miss, and these are what separate the casual weekend shooter from the people who actually dominate with a pistol. Caliber specificity is critical. Your subconscious has a recoil profile for every caliber and firearm you shoot. A University of Texas motor control study discovered shooters flinch 3 to 4 times harder with a 45 ACP than with a 22 LR, even if they don't report feeling more anxious. That means you can eliminate your flinch with a soft-shooting 9mm trainer and then pick up your carry 45 and the flinch comes back like a ghost. The fix is obvious and inconvenient. Run the ball and dummy with the exact gun and ammunition you carry or compete with. If you carry a Glock 19 with a specific +P defensive load, you need to train with that same setup. For competition shooters, some coaches even recommend training with a slightly snappier caliber for neural overcompensation. Train with a bit more recoil, so the actual competition gun feels softer by comparison. But don't skip caliber match drills unless you want hard-won gains to evaporate when you change pistols. Another advanced factor is trigger timing and follow-through. Flinch often shows up not just as a physical jerk, but as anticipatory timing errors. You speed the shot a hair early because your brain wants the pain over with. The ball and dummy makes this glaringly obvious. You'll see the muzzle move slightly before the click or the bang, or you'll feel your trigger finger twitch. The corrective step here is to overlay a metronome or cadence into the drill. Use a conservative cadence, say 1 shot every 4 to 5 seconds, focus on a smooth, deliberate trigger press, and maintain the sight picture through the sample. The pause after a dummy round becomes your opportunity to assess timing as well as tension. One more often overlooked secret: the witness factor. Training alone cuts effectiveness by roughly 60%. Your brain lies to you. It will tell you you held steady when you didn't. Because perception after a shot is notoriously unreliable. A trained observer catches microsigns you miss: slight shoulder elevation, jaw tightness, a blink or squint a fraction of a second before the trigger break. An observer can call out those tiny cues and force conscious processing. If you don't have a coach, video yourself with a high frame rate. Even a modern phone at 120 frames per second helps, and review the footage. You'll be horrified, then liberated. External feedback accelerates correction exponentially. Now let's map out a practical session you can run that follows everything above. This is an instructor's blueprint, scaled for a single shooter and a training partner. Warm up with dry fire for 5 to 10 minutes, focusing on perfect sight picture and smooth trigger press. No snap. No anticipation. Load 3 magazines with random live or dummy arrangements. Partner loads. Use mixed capacities and a randomizing app. Start at 10 yards. Run single shots with a conservative cadence, every 4 seconds. If you hit a dummy, hold the muzzle steady for 5 to 10 seconds, verbalize the physical reaction, and note it. Repeat until you have 20 consecutive shots with 0 visible movement. Don't move forward until you've proven consistency. Move to 15 yards. Repeat the same block. Don't slack on recovery pauses. Move to 25 yards. This is the hard filter. If you cleaned 10 and 15 yards but still show movement here, dial back and grind. The moment you string 20 clean shots at 25 yards, your groups will have already tightened dramatically. Finish with a deliberate live-fire grouping block at your usual carry or competition load to feel the improvement. Record group sizes and track them over time. Do this protocol twice a week for 3 weeks, and you'll be shocked. Most shooters see 40 to 70% group reduction, and many of them shave seconds off their competition times solely because follow-up shots become predictable and stable. Don't be surprised if you cry a little the first time you actually feel a shot go off and the sights never move. It's a strange, triumphant sensation. There are also mental techniques that amplify the drill's effectiveness. Cognitive reframing is one. Change the subconscious narrative from recoil is bad to recoil is expected and harmless. That's not wishful thinking, it's a neurological trick. Use positive visualization during the 5-second freeze. Picture the muzzle staying perfectly aligned, the sights perfectly centered. Use a short mantra before each press. Relax, press, watch. It sounds hokey until it works. Breath control matters too. Anticipation is often tied to breath arrest. Your body braces in the split second your exhale ends. Practice trigger breaks at the bottom of a natural exhale, but don't hold your breath. Keep your chest relaxed. If you're breathing at full tension, your muscles will always be primed for a flinch. Learn to breathe through the shot in slow, calm cycles. Finally, integrate the training into real-world scenarios. Flinch might be absent on the static range, but return under stress. Simulate mild stressors in training. Perform the drill after a short sprint. Add a timed element, or put on a weak hearing protection device that changes the acoustic signature. Stress inoculation helps transfer the no-flinch behavior into the situations that actually matter. So what should you expect after a month of disciplined, properly run ball and dummy work? Expect measurable shrinkage in your group sizes, fewer surprises at competition, and a calmer, more confident feel behind the trigger. Expect to pick up a handgun you thought had bad ergonomics and find it behaves. Expect to stop blaming imaginary wind or bad ammo and face the real issue, your nervous system, and fix it. If there's one single takeaway I want you to leave with, it's this. Flinch is not a character flaw. It's a hardwired survival reflex that developed over millions of years to keep you safe. The ball and dummy drill is the polite way to teach your brain that in the modern world, the perceived danger of recoil is a false alarm. Do the work, be patient, and let your subconscious learn a better rule. Drop a comment below and tell me what your first ball and dummy session showed you about your shooting. The ugly, humbling truth you didn't want to admit. If you want, tell me the caliber and gun you carry, and I'll give you a specific warm-up progression for it. Smash that subscribe button right now so you never miss the advanced techniques and training secrets that actually move the needle. If one drill could cut your groups in half, wouldn't you want to know it? And here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. If you could eliminate one invisible problem in your shooting forever, flinch, trigger timing, or sight picture wobble, which would you pick and why? Be honest. I read every comment, and I'll respond with the exact next drill you should run to tackle your top issue. Train hard, train smart. See you at the range.